There is a driving technique that Germans use on the Autobahn every single day that most American drivers have never heard of. And it has nothing to do with driving slower. This one method can cut your highway fuel consumption by up to 20%. And the data backing it up comes from government agencies, university studies, and real-world testing across millions of miles of highway driving. I'm not talking about some hyper-miling gimmick where you draft behind semi-trucks at 2 feet. I am talking about a fundamental shift in how you operate your vehicle on the highway that the Germans literally engineered their entire road system around. And the craziest part, it costs you nothing. No gadgets, no modifications, no trip to the mechanic. Just a change in how your right foot behaves for the next 60 miles. After years of studying vehicle efficiency data and how different countries approach highway driving, I can tell you the average American is burning 15 to 20% more fuel on every single highway trip than they need to. Not because of what they drive, because of how they drive. And the Germans figured out the fix decades ago. Today, I am breaking down exactly what this method is, why it works from a physics standpoint, and how you can start using it on your next highway trip. I am going deepest on the core technique because once you understand it, you will never drive the highway the same way again. The Autobahn paradox. Here is something that sounds completely backwards. Germany, the country famous for having no speed limit on large portions of its highway system, actually has some of the most fuel-efficient highway driving habits in the world. If speed kills fuel economy and Germans drive faster, they should be burning more fuel. But that is not what happens. Most people hear Autobahn and picture Porsches doing 180 miles per hour. The reality is that roughly half of the Autobahn network has posted speed limits. And even on unrestricted sections, the German government has the Richtgeschwindigkeit, an advisory speed of 130 kilometers per hour, about 81 miles per hour. According to ADAC, Germany's largest automobile club, most drivers cruise between 93 and 99 miles per hour. Very few consistently push past 125, but it is not the speed that makes German highway driving efficient. It is the discipline. Germany has a law called the Rechtsfahrgebot. It means you must stay in the rightmost lane unless you are actively passing. The left lane is for overtaking only. You pass, you move back right. No camping in the middle lane, no cruising in the left lane. You stay right, or you get an €80 fine and a point on your license. This creates something Americans almost never experience: smooth, predictable, uninterrupted traffic flow. And smooth traffic flow is the single most important factor in highway fuel efficiency. More important than your speed, more important than your gear. The enemy of fuel economy is not speed, it is speed variation. The 20% fuel tax you are paying without knowing. Natural resources. Canada ran a controlled study measuring fuel consumption at a steady 80 kilometers per hour versus the same average speed, but fluctuating between 75 and 85 every 18 seconds. Same average speed, same distance, same vehicle. The fluctuating speed used 20% more fuel. Think about what that means for American driving. You are cruising at 70 miles per hour. Someone in the left lane is doing 65 and will not move. You slow to 63, wait, accelerate to 74 to pass, settle back to 70. That cycle takes 30 seconds and burns significantly more fuel than maintaining a steady 70. Now multiply that by every lane change, every merge, every time you zone out and let your speed drop before getting back on the throttle. Over a 300-mile trip, the average driver goes through dozens of these microcycles. Every one dumps fuel. The Department of Energy confirms it. Aggressive driving, defined as speeding, rapid acceleration, and hard braking, can lower highway fuel economy by up to 33%. Even moderate speed variations cost 10 to 20%. And most drivers do not realize they are doing it because the speedometer hovers around their target. But the engine does not care about averages. It cares about what is happening right now. And right now, you are accelerating back to speed for the 14th time this hour. The physics is brutal. Aerodynamic drag increases with the square of your speed. Double your speed, you quadruple the drag. A mid-size SUV needing 20 horsepower at 50 miles per hour might need 100 horsepower at 100 miles per hour. At highway speeds, more than half your engine's output fights air resistance. So every time you accelerate back up after getting stuck behind someone, your engine fights a massively higher drag force to regain those lost miles per hour. Every molecule of fuel burned during that acceleration is energy you already had before you were forced to slow down. How to apply the German method on American roads. You cannot change American traffic laws, but you can change how you drive. Here is the method. Step 1. Pick your speed and lock it in. Cruise control is not lazy, it is efficient. An Edmunds study found cruise control improved fuel efficiency by an average of 7%, with some vehicles hitting 14%. The real benefit is eliminating micro-accelerations your foot makes without you noticing. Your right foot, no matter how disciplined, constantly adjusts. Cruise control does not. The Department of Energy estimates every 5 miles per hour above 50 costs an additional 27 cents per gallon. On a 500-mile trip at 75 versus 65, you save 20 minutes but burn 2 to 3 extra gallons. Step 2. Choose your lane and stay in it. This is the Rechtsfahrgebot adapted for American roads. Stop lane hopping. Every lane change requires deceleration, evaluation, acceleration, and settling. Each one costs fuel. Stay in the right or center lane and let traffic flow around you. Step 3. Increase your following distance. When you follow too closely, you constantly react. Brake lights ahead mean you brake, then accelerate, then brake again. This microcycle is the #1 killer of highway fuel economy. Increase to 4 to 5 seconds and something changes. You stop reacting and start anticipating. You see traffic slowing 10 cars ahead and ease off the gas. Your car decelerates gradually, using almost no fuel. By the time you reach the slower traffic, it has often cleared, and you never touched the brake. Step 4. Read the road like a German. German drivers undergo some of the most rigorous driving education in the world, costing thousands of euros. A core part is anticipatory driving. Look a quarter mile ahead, read brake lights, and read merge patterns. If you see a slowdown coming, start coasting early. Most modern fuel-injected engines cut fuel delivery entirely during deceleration in gear, which means you burn 0 fuel while coasting. You cannot get more efficient than 0. Step 5. Respect the speed sweet spot. The Richtgeschwindigkeit of 130 kilometers per hour was not random. It balances travel time against fuel consumption. Keep your speed steady and you start on the right foot. Natural Resources Canada found that driving at 120 kilometers per hour uses 20% more fuel than 100 kilometers per hour. On a 25-kilometer trip, that speed spike saves just 2 minutes. For most American driving, the sweet spot is 55 to 65 miles per hour. Cruise in the right lane at 62 or 63, and you will see 4 to 8 miles per gallon, better than the driver doing 78. That sweet spot matters more than top speed. The compound effect. Each step alone saves fuel. Combined, they compound. Steady speed eliminates acceleration waste. Lane discipline eliminates unnecessary changes. Following distance eliminates reactive braking. Anticipation eliminates sudden inputs. The speed sweet spot reduces baseline drag. Think of combined effects, not single actions. Stack all 5, and you are looking at 15 to 25% better highway fuel economy. That is consistent with what the Department of Energy, Natural Resources Canada, Consumer Reports, and multiple university studies have independently confirmed. For a vehicle getting 27 miles per gallon, that is the difference between 27 and 32 to 34 miles per gallon. That is not theory. That is what happens when you stop fighting physics and start working with it. Let me put this in dollars. Say you drive 200 highway miles per week. That is 10,400 miles per year. At 27 miles per gallon, you burn 385 gallons. At $3.50 per gallon, that is $1,348 per year. Apply a 20% improvement, and you get 32.4 miles per gallon. You burn 321 gallons. Your fuel cost drops to $1,123. That is $225 per year, from changing nothing except how your right foot behaves. Over 5 years, $1,125. Over the life of the vehicle, $2,000 to $3,000. And there is a bonus. Smoother driving means less brake wear, less tire wear, and less transmission stress. The Germans do not just save fuel, they save on total cost of ownership. A highway car with 150,000 miles is in better shape than a city car with 80,000 for exactly this reason. Steady driving is gentle driving, and gentle driving is cheap driving. Who benefits most highway commuters doing 30 or more miles each way? Road trippers covering long distances regularly. Anyone driving a vehicle with a large frontal area, like an SUV, truck, or van, because those vehicles suffer more from aerodynamic drag. And fleet managers looking at fuel costs across dozens of vehicles. A fleet of 20 vehicles doing 30,000 miles per year each could save 800 to 1,200 gallons annually just from driver training. That is $3,000 to $5,000 in savings from a behavior change, not a vehicle upgrade. Who should skip this? Honestly, if you are late for work every morning and the extra 4 minutes that doing 65 instead of 78 costs you is genuinely unacceptable, then this is not for you today. I would argue that person has a planning problem, not a speed problem. If you are already a naturally smooth, steady driver, your gains will be smaller. But for the average American who speed matches traffic, taps the brake 40 times per highway trip, and changes lanes whenever a gap opens up, the savings here are enormous. So there it is, the German method for cutting highway fuel consumption by 20%. Not a gimmick, not a gadget. A driving philosophy that the most advanced highway system on Earth was built around. Steady speed, lane discipline, following distance, anticipation, and respecting the speed sweet spot where physics works for you instead of against you. The Autobahn trick was never about going fast. It never was. It was about going smooth, constant, predictable. The Autobahn was not designed for speed. Not really. It was designed for flow. And flow is what saves fuel. And smooth is free. If this changed how you think about highway driving, hit subscribe. I have more videos coming that break down the engineering behind everyday driving decisions, the stuff nobody explains, but everybody should know. Drop a comment with your current highway miles per gallon. I bet half of you can beat it by 4 or 5 miles per gallon just by applying what you learned today. Like if it helped. Drive smart, drive smooth, and let the Germans teach you something about saving money at the pump. I will see you in the next one.